Good evening and welcome to the Select Board meeting of Monday, March 23rd. Would you all rise and salute the flag with me, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I just want to state that we are supposed to go into executive session. So 2A is Select Board to consider entering executive session per general laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A7, to comply with or act under the authority of any general or special law or federal grant in aid requirements. And that is to review the review of executive session minutes from August 23rd, 2021 and September 27th, 2021. It was just brought to our attention that the September 27th date is potentially inaccurate. It is a continuation of a date of September 13th. So therefore, you have some recommendations, Mr. Gregory, to be continued? Okay, so we are going to discuss this in executive session. And I need to do that by roll call vote. Ms. Dubreuil?
Yes.
Mr. Sherrick?
Yes.
Ms. Bemis?
Yes.
And Mr. Duplessis?
Yes.
And I vote yes. So we will reconvene in open session after executive session. Thank you. I would like to reopen the meeting of March 23rd, Monday, March 23rd of the Select Board. We did open at 6 p.m., and then we had to go into executive session, so I'm reopening the session. And if you could all stand and salute the flag with me, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So we're going to move to item number 3 on our agenda, minutes to be approved. 3A, public session minutes from March 9th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? And we're going to do roll call vote. Mr. Duplessis is remote today, so he is here in this lovely device. So by roll call vote, Ms. Dubril.
Yes.
Mr. Sherrick.
Yes.
Mr. Duplessis.
Yes.
Ms. Bemis.
Yes.
Miss Diane, I almost said. And I vote yes, so that passes 5-0. Minutes to be approved. Executive session minutes, Part 1, March 9th, 2026. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. Yep.
Okay. Any questions? No? Okay, roll call vote. Ms. Gabriel?
Yes.
Mr. Sherrick?
Yes.
Mr. Duplessis?
Yes.
And Ms. Bemis?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so that passes 5-0. 3C, executive session minutes, Part 2, March 9, 2026.
So moved.
Second, on the question. I just did make a minor change to the minutes. Do you want to just say what?
Would you like to
I can't recall
address it?
exactly what they
You
were.
share them with me, we can make the change.
We have to be careful about saying that publicly, so
Yeah.
It's a minor change.
Yeah.
is it an
It's a
administrative change
wording.
or?
I think it's a wording change.
There's a wording order change, yes.
So
Okay.
should we, is it something that should be tabled?
I think we can just
It's
say
content, it's not,
it. Just say it,
okay.
yeah.
If it's not content, then I will.
I don't recall exactly, just say what the words were that I changed.
It was the order of the words.
Yeah.
Within the first sentence of what Mr. Sherrick spoke on, it was just the wording. It's just the wording,
Okay.
but it portrays the
The
correct.
same information.
The message is still the same? Okay. The message is still the same, Mr. Sherrick?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, so by roll call vote, Ms. Dubril?
Yes.
Mr. Sherrick?
Yes.
Mr. Duplessis?
Yes.
And Ms. Bemis?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so that passes 5-0. 3D, Select Board to consider releasing executive session minutes from August 23rd, 2021 and September 27th, 2021. And before we make a vote on that, I just want to note that this is what we did enter executive session for. And as we vote, you'll find out why we voted how we voted. So can I get a motion so we can discuss this?
So moved.
Second. Okay. So the August 23rd, we will be voting on. The September 27th, 2021, we will not be voting on at this time. There was a little discrepancy with the dates on that one. The paperwork stated a different date in comparison to the date that was requested. So the subject on that one, I can tell you the subject on that one was the PFAS, but because the dates were wrong, we're waiting for legal counsel to find out the answer to that. So we weren't comfortable voting in executive session for that. As far as the August 23rd, we are comfortable on voting on. And is there a motion on the table? The motion was stated that we will not be releasing those minutes. Those meeting minutes were in relation to collective bargaining, and due to attorney-client privileges, we will not be. We're not going to be entertaining to release those records, those minutes. And is there any discussion on that? No. Okay. So by roll call vote, Ms. Dubril?
Yes.
Mr. Sherrick?
Yes.
Mr. Duplessis?
Yes.
Ms. Bemis?
Yes.
And I vote yes. So we will not be releasing the minutes for August 23rd. Okay. And 4A, meetings and public hearings. Select Board to consider approving a transfer of an all-alcohol pouring license received from Michael Burns of Horseshoe Pub Incorporated, located at 29 South Street.
So moved.
Second.
And they are joining us right now. Mr. Duplessis? I'm sure you can see, right?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure you can see.
I can now, yes.
Okay, very good.
Evening. Hey, good evening. Thank you, Board. My name is Matthew Porter. I'm the attorney for Horseshoe Pub Inc. Along with me is Michael Burns. Mr. Burns is the principal of Horseshoe Pub Inc., 100% shareholder. He'll also be the proposed license manager of the location, meaning at the outset he'll be the one there 40 to, if not more, I'm sure, hours per week. But this is a very straightforward transfer. Obviously, the restaurant has a long-standing reputation in town. Mr. Burns is not coming in and trying to make any drastic changes to that whatsoever. He does bring his own experience. He's been operating Table 12 in West Boylston for the last couple of years now, so certainly understands, the rules and responsibilities, particularly as it, relates to the sale of alcohol. He's alcohol tip certified. All his employees will be required to be alcohol tip certified as well. He's also bringing a general manager over who has a wealth of experience from his other restaurant as well. But beyond that, the goal is to, obviously put his own mark on it, but continue to do what the restaurant's done for several years. They're looking to retain, the vast majority of the employees that want to stay along. So I think from a outward perspective, there won't be, a whole lot of changes. They are financing the transaction through Rockland Trust. So in addition to the request for the transfer of license, there's a request of pledge of license and inventory to Rockland Trust, which we'd be asking for the board to approve as well. But beyond that, their financing is in order. It's been a very smooth transaction with the seller thus far. They have a very good working relationship, and I think that'll pay dividends, throughout the transition. So I know Nick's here in support of that. I can certainly answer any question the board may have. Mr. Burns can as well.
Does the board have any questions?
Madam Chair, just to clarify one thing, this is a transfer from the Pisano Family Trust to Mr. Burns. Just doesn't come out of, is that correct?
Yeah, I think the selling entity is the Ian Thomas Corp. I think is what they do. I think that's the corporation for the license. But it is a transfer of the license to Mr. Burns' new corporation,
Okay.
which is Horseshoe Pub Inc.
And what is the schedule for the change? How soon will this take effect?
ABCC. Yeah. So it's all going to come down to the state. Yeah. So
Gotcha.
they're give or take 4 to 6 weeks, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. But essentially, that they'll be the last step in the process. If the board sees it so fit to approve tonight, it'll be forwarded off to the state, and then as soon as we have ABCC approval, we'll close within a couple weeks after that. So hopefully, in there for some nice weather if it changes. Yeah, hopefully.
Well, Mr. Burns, I certainly wish you well. Mr. Pizzamento has done a good job operating the Horseshoe Pub, and I've certainly enjoyed frequenting the place regularly, and I'll continue to be there. So best wishes to you.
Much appreciate that.
Do you have any questions, Mr. Duplessis or Ms. Bemis?
I do not.
Nick, do you have anything to say to the town of Hudson that has served your family for close to 50 years?
Good.
Great. Well, thank you for years of entertainment. I mean, I remember back in the day when there was, when my kids were very little, and there was Frank the Magician was there, and they took my wedding ring and they made it disappear, so that was fun.
47 years.
Yeah, 47 years. So yeah, but congratulations and enjoy your retirement and enjoy your new endeavor.
Appreciate that.
Okay. If there's no
Madam Vice Chair?
yes,
Yes, I'd just like to comment. I'd like to thank Mr. Pizzamento, me and his father, for all their years in Hudson. Certainly a fine establishment, run very well. And I'd like to wish Mr. Burns good luck also.
Thank you.
if there's no other questions, I will call for a vote. Roll call vote. Ms. Dubriel.
Yes.
Mr. Sherrick.
Yes.
Mr. Duplessis.
Yes.
Ms. Bemis.
Yes.
And I vote yes. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Have a great night.
Sorry to make you come at 6.
We have no licenses tonight, so we're going to move to 6A. Select Board to consider confirming the appointment of Emily Shakmakian, if I said it, did I say Shakmakian? Okay, thank you. As full-time Assistant Circulation Librarian at a clerical union, grade 10, step 3, effective April 1st, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Nope. Okay, roll call vote. Ms. Dubriel?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And Mr. Duplessis?
Yes.
Ms. Bemis?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Welcome aboard. You're very welcome. Let's see. 6B, Select Board to consider confirming the appointment of Olivia Nicolazzo as full-time Collective Management and Resources Librarian at a clerical union grade 12, Step 3, effective April 1st, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? No? Okay. By roll call vote, Ms. Dubriel.
Yes.
Mr. Sherrick.
Yes.
Mr. Duplessis.
Yes.
Ms. Bemis.
Yes.
And I vote yes. Congratulations. Welcome
you.
aboard. 6C, Select Board to consider confirming the appointment of Deborah Kane as part-time Collection Management and Resources Librarian at a non-union NUF Step 8, effective April 7, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, by roll call, Ms. Dubriel.
Yes.
Mr. Sherrick.
Yes.
Mr. Duplessis.
Yes.
Ms. Bemis.
Yes.
And I vote yes. Is Deborah here tonight?
She's on vacation. She wished she could be here.
Okay.
She's happy to return.
Great, great. Well, congratulate her for us. Thank you. Let's see, 6D, Select Board to note the retirement of Manuel Ponte effective March 31st, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
And I'd just like to state, I know he's in the room tonight. After 32 years of service with the town of Hudson, he started in maintenance on December 3rd, 1993. He was promoted to equipment operator June 4th of 1996, and then promoted to crew ladder in July 1st, 2011. And I can remember even as a young teenager seeing you on the grounds in Hudson. So you've been around the block. Time to go. Yes, would you like to speak?
Manny's retirement leaves a big void for
Oh no.
and sewer divisions. He started 32 years ago in the W2 labor position, and as you mentioned, then worked up as an equipment operator, moved to highway division as a hot top foreman. He went from W2 to now W6 in the water and sewer crew leader. His skills to hear and pinpoint the location of a water leak is unmatched. He is always responsive, and he has always been there for more than 90% of water main breaks in Hudson in all his years working in the water division. One of the most memorable big-scale repairs was when the intersection of Main Street and Broad Street was flooded from a 12-inch water main break. This was about 20 years ago. I wasn't here. Land had eroded so fast that manholes became fully exposed at one location. If it was not for Manny and his amazing skills, the water division ended up closing 23 water gates to isolate and control the water leak. Manny has a lot of experience and knows the town of Hudson's water system very well. There are very few people in DPWT with that amount of knowledge. And please stand. Thank you.
No, we'll just call you.
And I'm not moving on. Anytime Dave, you need help, if I'm around, gladly help.
Oh, thank you, Manny.
Thank you.
And thank you for the help with the insurance, getting everything straightened out. And
I want to see, she needs a hug.
He will be missed tremendously, and
Thank
we
you,
wish you
Tom.
the very best.
thank you, Regina. I only wish she took the big boss's job. It was nice working with her. It was nice working with Eric.
Yeah.
Mr. Marks, I'm sure you guys don't remember anymore, but
I
it
remember.
was good. 32 years is a long time, as you guys know.
Congratulations. Deserved. Well deserved.
Very good for me.
Mr. Duplessis, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I just like to. Obviously, I'm not there in person, but when I see him walking around, I will definitely shake his hand. I see him walking around the neighborhood all the time. So I want to thank you for all your service to the town, Manny.
Oh, congratulations.
Now it's time to relax.
Well, we haven't voted yet. So you're going to have to wait. It's not approved yet, so simmer down for a second.
If we
By
deny
roll
it,
call
The
vote,
look on
Mr.
his
Briel.
face if we said no. Yes.
Yes, Mr. Sheriff.
Yes.
Mr. Duplessis.
Regularity, yes.
Yes. Ms. Beavis?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right, moving on to 6E, Select Board to note the retirement of Mark Baker effective March 24th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
And Mark has spent 30 years with the town of Hudson. He was a laborer he was hired March 4th, 1996, and he was promoted to crew leader November 1st. That was a good day. That's my birthday. November 1st, 2010. And I know Mark from a personal level, and his family was my sister's family, and he's a great guy and a hard worker. He was always out there doing. He was big with the lawns and everything else in the park, so he will be sorely missed as well. Did you have anything to say as well?
Well, along the same lines, Mark has been here for so many decades, and the crew is going to miss him a lot. We try to train other personnel in Parks and Forestry Division. Again, another person very responsive on his phone calls. He responds to the recreation director, from the athletic fields, from schools, any calls that come through, he immediately picks up, and we try to teach him. Very compassionate person, and he loved his job. He isn't here today, he was on vacation, but tomorrow is his last day. And again, we're going to miss him a lot, and we just wish him the very best in his retirement.
Thank you. And Mr. Duplessis, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Mr. Baker, even though he's not there, but when he, we had a field maintenance, Mr. Cunha for years, who kept our fields, especially the busy ones, like they look like golf course material. And Mark pretty much stepped right in and kept it that way all the years. Very difficult to maintain fields with the usage that they get. But Mark and his crew always did a great job with them, so I'd like to thank him personally. Thank you.
Thank you. So by roll call vote to note the retirement, Ms. Dubreuil?
Yes.
Mr. Sherrick?
Yes.
Mr. Duplessis?
Yes.
Ms. Bemis?
Yes.
And I vote yes, that passes 5-0. 7, contracts. 7A, Select Board to consider awarding a contract to FG Sullivan Drilling Company in the amount of $49,483 for the cleaning and redevelopment of Chestnut Well Number 1 in Cranberry Well, and to authorize the town manager to sign on behalf of the board.
So moved with question?
Second.
Okay. Ms. Bemis, do you want Rajitha to
Yeah,
speak first? Okay. Thank you.
So I just have a question. I thought it, I don't know, interesting or terrifying or whatever, that Weston Sampson's bid came in double the price.
Typically, we have a total of 5 wells.
Yeah?
Every year we do a contract for cleaning and servicing
Right.
for 2 of the wells. This year is unique because well 1 needs a pump also, and it's been in disrepair, and well 1 has been down.
Right.
It's not been in service for almost 2 months, and we want to make sure that we're prepared for the upcoming drier months. April showers are going to go
Sure,
at some point
sure.
soon. So before that, we want to make sure that the pump is installed and the cleaning and servicing is also done for well 1 and the Cranberry Well, and hence why the contract cost is a little different.
No, I understand that, and I saw, the Sullivan bid was $49,000, and then the other bid by Weston Sampson was $99,000, and I thought, how can they're bidding on the same job.
Right.
And
It's like some people keep the pumps in stock, some people will order it further down, and then there's lead times, there's transportation costs, all of that gets added on to the person
Sure.
that's purchasing or like getting into the contract. But we have worked with FG Sullivan before,
Right.
and they're a very reliable vendor as well. So
Okay, well,
I
I thank you
recommend.
for going through that process and finding Sullivan again.
thank you. And this money is going to be coming from the operating budget under enterprise water enterprise fund.
Okay.
We had already set aside some money for the well maintenance, so
Right.
that works fine.
That's great. Thank
There's
you.
also instances where sometimes people overbid because they don't want the job.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
And that's
There's
what I
always-
was wondering
there's always
if that
instance.
happened.
Yeah. Yeah. They may not be in the area as much or whatnot, so they don't want the job, so they overbid, but they're on a list.
Yeah, and
where
so they have to
where
bid.
They have to put a bid in.
Yep, I get it.
Are there any other questions on that topic? Mr. Duplessis?
All set.
Okay. By roll call vote, Ms. Dubriel?
Yes.
Mr. Sherrick?
Yes.
Mr. Duplessis?
Yes.
Ms. Bemis?
Yes,
And I vote yes. That passes 5-0.
thank you.
8A, which is the budget. Health insurance revision, $8,783,493.
So this, Madam Chair, this is a revision. You'll remember, the board will remember, I carried a 20% increase in health insurance premium when I filed the budget back in January. When we actually had our rates set by Maya, it came in at 14.4. So this reflects that downward number. The actual health insurance number is $7,888,493. The $8 million figure you see here includes also the Medicare employer's share of the Medicare tax, and that's what's shown as the total number in the warrant, $8,783,493.
Okay.
Are there any questions from the board on this? So we should probably make a motion first.
Yep, a motion to accept health insurance revision to $8,783,493.
Second.
Any questions? Okay. Ms. Dubriel?
Yes.
Mr. Sherrick?
Yes.
Mr. Duplessis?
Yes.
Ms. Bemis?
Yes,
And I vote yes. That passes 5-0. 8B, Fire Department revision, $4,722,673.
So, Madam Chair, this item, or this number, is revised upward. When Chief Desatel had recommended his 27 budget, he included an amount of $15,000 for training supplies, and I actually reduced that by half. But the budget bottom line got the full reduction, which wasn't what I intended. So this adds half of it back in.
I'm just going to write that down. Training back.
So this number is increased by $7,500 from the previous
Very
fire
good.
department bottom line number.
Is there a motion to accept the revision?
so moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that, because in past you had mentioned that you were bringing forth a balanced budget, and now this has gone up. I do recognize that the health insurance did go down, so the budget is still balanced.
It is. That's right. Yep.
All right, by roll call vote, Ms. Dubriel?
Yes.
Mr. Sherrick?
Yes.
Mr. Duplessis?
Yes.
Ms. Bemis?
Yes,
I vote yes. Thank you. 8C, Select Board to meet with the school department to discuss fiscal year 2027 funding. Was this the reason our packet was so big this time? It's one of the many. Oh, wonderful.
Just had some, more like typos, no financial.
that's fine, thank you.
So it's the same document, just revised a bit? Okay.
Okay, so just throw this one.
Well,
Yeah.
you can, I mean,
Yeah.
Save a tree.
we'll send them to Scott.
Sure.
Did you have a presentation or no? For the board? Okay, very good.
No, we just, the only difference really between now and the last time we were
Right.
in front of you, is that we have the book itself.
Yep.
It's still in draft form, because the school committee won't vote until the meeting on April 7th. Every time you turn a page, you find a missing letter or something like that.
Could you just grab the microphone just so that
Sorry,
people
yeah,
at home
yeah.
can hear? Thank you.
Yeah, so, you might find a minor error in the sort of narrative more than anything else. The financial picture hasn't changed. Dan will walk you through. There's a minor adjustment from one of the major categories to the other, but the bottom line has maintained the same number since we last spoke. So it's still built on the amount that you voted on back in February.
Yep.
And then it's being supplemented by school choice and by circuit breaker funds to make the budget whole. So if you mind, we can take a few minutes and Dan
Sure.
can just
Yeah.
sort of orient you to the book.
Yeah, and if you could
Field
just remind
questions.
for the public the bottom line number as well.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, so we'll be posting this on our website soon once we have the final draft. And just want to point out on page 6 and 7, there's the superintendent's message, so don't miss that. That's a good one.
I like the one with all of your pictures, personally. That's my favorite.
And just want to note a few things as we go through. There's, page 12, 13, 14, and 15 just highlights some programs we have at the high school and some new initiatives. And then if you want to look at student performance and benchmark data, that starts around page 18. On page 21, there's some information about our per pupil spending. And there's also a QR code. If you want to find out more, you can get more details about per pupil spending by line items and compare with other states. There's a lot of information on that website. Page 22 just starts a lot of our historical trends in enrollment. One thing we've noted in the past, our total enrollment has been declining over the last 10 years, but our other populations, students with disabilities, low income, and English learners has been increasing. So that's, you'll see our classroom teachers have not increased over that period, but our teachers that are addressing supports for students has increased. On page 26 is actually a new page this year. We got in the last month we got a new report from NASDAQ who does enrollment projections for us. So this shows 20 years of enrollment projections, the last 10 years, and projecting forward 10 years. So they are projecting our enrollment to start to increase a little bit over the next 10 years. And there's some notes in there about those projections increasing. Page 27 just talks about our school choice enrollment. We have an estimate for FY27 that it's going to be down to 162 students. So you see that a corresponding in our projections for school choice revenue will be lower than they have been in the last couple of years. So yeah, page 28 through 34 down there is profiles district-wide in all the schools. You can see some information about all of our schools, the enrollments per grade by every school, and also the staffing in each school. And page 37 starts to talk a lot, as all the financial information starts. We could point out on on table 1 on page 38, it talks about our projected revenue over the next few years. You see in FY27, this is the total appropriation that is going to be on the warrant is $50,405,344. This includes additional $500,000 from override funding, and as we had talked about during the override discussions, we would expect another $500,000 in FY28, another $250,000 in 29. That would help increase our appropriation. This assumes, like usually, our appropriations are around a 2.5% increase. So you'll see in FY27 the appropriations increasing by 3.53, and then if in FY28 with that additional $500,000, we'd be at 3.49, and then down to 2.98, and then by FY30, all the override funds will have been added to our budget, and then we'd be back to a 2.5% increase. And then that starts a little bit of our problem again, because we estimate that we need around 3.5% increase per year to fund our expenses. So at a 2.5%, we would expect to start to have a budget gap that needs to be closed either by reducing staff or some other funding. One thing that, is hopeful there could be some new growth in town by then that could help the town be able to fund the schools at a 3.5% or some number above that 2.5%. We are currently in collective bargaining with two of our unions. It's two of our smaller unions, but that could affect FY27 funding. On page 41, it's the multi-year projections that I usually do every year. Just shows something similar to what we were talking about, where I'll note something else on a future page, but to fill the gap in FY30, we'd have to use a lot of extra circuit breaker and school choice at that time, so that could be like a one-year fix, but when those are gone, our hope is some new growth will help fill the budget gap. On page 46, we show total FTEs. We show it going up from the bottom line, a total of 497 in FY26 to 501.67 in FY27. There's multiple increases and decreases that lead to an increase of 4.7 FTEs. In the superintendent's message, and as well as in other parts of the budget, we talk about why the FTEs are increasing for FY27. And it's largely due to our need to increase ABAs, which are supports for students with special needs. Their IEPs call for a certain amount of level of support, and to meet that support, we had to add these ABAs. We also had to add a kindergarten teacher just to, our enrollment's up in kindergarten this year, higher than last year. Page 47 and 48 talk about more details about staffing adjustments. We're having several positions repurposed, such as we reduce a grade 4 teacher at Farley and increase a grade 3 teacher at Mulready just to balance out based on enrollments. So there's a lot of repurposing. It shows all the additional ABAs and the kindergarten teacher. Then we show a couple other changes, and we also just listed a summary of positions eliminated over the last 2 years. So we've eliminated a lot of positions based on either declining enrollment or, as we talked about last year during the override, we reduced around $1 million of FTEs to lower the override amount. In page 49 through around 56, it has details of all of our revenues and expenses, so you can learn about our history of our Chapter 70 funding. Next year, we anticipate getting minimum aid. Some years in the past, you'll see we got a bigger increase, like $700,000 or $600,000, but this for FY27, we'll be back to minimum aid. In the governance budget, that would give us $75 per pupil, which would be a $175,000 increase to Chapter 70. We are hopeful that the legislators will increase that like they did last year to $150 per pupil. So this happened last year. The governor came out with $75 per pupil. The legislator increased to $150. So we're hopeful, and we'll ask our legislators to support an increase to $150 per pupil. So instead of the $175, we'd get something more like $300,000. There's a history of a town appropriation. And I have that estimated out to FY29 just to show the override funding added on. On the circuit breaker page, on page 51, that shows a history of our circuit breaker funding and our use of circuit breaker funding. We're planning on using $1.9 million of circuit breaker in FY27. So that shows a history of our expected balances. FY25 hasn't officially closed yet, so circuit breaker and school choice could change. Those amounts could change a little bit depending on how the year closes, but this is how I think it'll close. And on page 52, there's also estimates out to FY27 for school choice usage. We're planning on using 1.188 million circuit breaker school choice in FY27. I can take any questions as we go through any pages as you have them. And I'll just point out on page 57, that shows our total appropriation and budget increases. So you'll see under town appropriation, there's an increase of 1.7 million, which is 3.53. That's the amount that you'll see in the warrant.
I'm sorry, what page is that?
Sorry, page 57. It starts at the top of the town appropriation. FY27 would be 50,405,344, which is an increase of 3.5%. You also see that those amounts of circuit breaker and school choice, 1.9 million and 1.188, and that's total revenue of 53,493. We are using more circuit breaker and school choice than in the FY26 budget. So with those increases, that increases our budget by 4.5%. Typically, like I said, we'll need around 3.5. This is a little bit higher, partially because we had to add a lot of 6 ABAs and a kindergarten teacher after last year's budget was created. And then just after that, there's just a lot of pages of detail of every line item that, as you read that through, feel free to ask questions now or anytime as you have time to read through that. The budget book ends with details on our grant funds and our revolving funds, and then our capital plan is back on page 96.
So just to be clear, on page 57, you have a town appropriation of 50,405,344 plus the special, the circuit breaker and the school choice for a total of 53. I think is that the number she asked for in the beginning?
Yes.
That's the total budget. Yeah, the number that they voted on is the 50,405,000.
53,493,927, right?
Right, which town appropriation is 50,405,300.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yep.
In the additional, you'll see that on the town appropriation general expense, 7,886,000. That's less than last year, so I just want to point out the additional circuit breaker and school choice that we're using is going to offset that line, so that all that 588,000 of additional funding from the revolving funds are going to offset that general expense, so that's why that line shows it's going down this year. But overall, at the bottom, you can see that it's actually going up by 5.44%. Yeah, that's pretty much a summary of the budget. I can take any questions you guys have or anything related to the budget.
Any questions?
Yeah, go for it. So I guess there's not so many questions, but more observations. So through you, Madam Chair. I was looking at your summary of positions eliminated. It does seem like you guys were able to, I believe it was 12 FTEs in 26, correct? And a lot of those, it seems like, were at the district level or at the high school level. Okay. And I'm sure that was not the easiest of jobs, but I do know that, the large portion of your budget the majority of the portion of your budget is personnel, and so, where you had to, and, I do appreciate that effort, even though, it's not what anybody ever wants to do, but, the other thing that I wanted to just say on a more of a personal level about the benchmark curriculum is I have been experiencing it as a parent of 2 kids and then also volunteering in the school, and I've actually been able to help in my daughter's classroom to be able to participate in some of the curriculum, and the fact that you guys were able to get a grant for half of that and be able to pull that together in time for this school year has been phenomenal, and the stuff that these children are producing is amazing and astounding, and I just wanted to say thank you because it's really turned everything around from the previous curriculum, and I am just in awe and very appreciative, so thank you all very much.
I'll just say credit to our teachers who are really rolling up their sleeves and doing everything they can to implement this curriculum. I was at Mulready today and watching some kids do their writing their stories, and it is head and shoulders above what the kind of work they were being asked to do previously under the old curriculum. So
it's astonishing
really
what they're doing. I mean, my daughter's kindergarten teacher is constantly saying how impressive that the language that these 5 and 6-year-olds are able to use already is leagues above where they were last year. And I was talking with my son's 2nd grade teacher, and she's saying how she's going home every weekend and she's working so hard to just make sure that she's prepared and working on all of these anchor charts and just producing so much. But they're so excited about it, and it's fantastic. But it is a very heavy lift, as you pointed out. But it's being done so well, and so
it's good to hear. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Just have one quick question back on the same page, on page 48. So just so I have clarification, so it says reduction in force enrollment. That's because the student enrollment came down. That's what I'm assuming, right? Okay. So there was 10 of those, and then 3 from retirement. So you just didn't fill those positions.
Correct.
Okay. And then 1 due to a vacancy, and then 1 it just says reduction. I'm sorry, 3 strictly reduction in force. So those were just 3 positions that
we just eliminated.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
If I may, Madam Chair.
Sure.
Through you.
Thank you.
I've gone through this process several times, like about 10 or 12 times. And so I can appreciate all of the hard work that Brian and Dan and Chris have done. I just have a couple of questions about the communication on page 58. The communication is up 100%, 25,000. I understand that that's advertising for certain positions and so forth.
Yeah, that is part of it,
Yep.
but we also are engaging with a consultant who's helping us with all of our sort of forward-facing documents, our websites, our social media.
Yep.
And you may wonder why spend money on something like that.
No.
The $25,000 that we spend for her year contract.
Yep.
The focus there is we're trying to retain families and students in town, right? So the more positive information we can put out about the district in a professional way, we just have nobody in the district that does that on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So that was the goal behind that, was to try and, do more, to try and engage with the community. She's pushed us to do the Rec Fest and the Hudson event that was in September down at the, So just getting us out there in the community so that people choose Hudson Public Schools.
Yeah.
So that we felt was an investment. And I will say already, just from one of our events, we know of at least 3 returns to Hudson from the charter school. So, that alone in tuition over time pays for that position. But it's good eyes on that. That's one line item that has a significant increase, but that's the...
I want to make another comment about residential and the cost of residential students. And you have to pay these increases. The school district has no control over these increases. These private schools can raise their rates from 15 to 30% and then just tell you that's what it is, and you have to absorb that. And so I understand that, and I very much appreciate, as I said, the hard work that's gone into creating this budget. There are so many things that you have decreased, and you've tightened your belt And I do appreciate that. I noticed that there are 4 ABAs that have increased, and I know that you, again, trying to keep these kids in district rather than sending them out, it's far more expensive to send them out than it is to keep them in. And then you hire an ABA, which is, you know, a behavioral assistant this is not a big expense. It is not a big expense considering what you save in the long run. And so I appreciate very much how hard you worked on this. I know that the cuts, the FTEs, a lot of them through attrition and through the central office staff as well, losing. And so I say kudos to you and your folks for working so hard. Thank you.
Madam Chair, yeah, just a comment and then a couple of questions related to the budget, but not in the budget. First of all, I know it takes a lot of work to put 104 pages together like this. It's well designed, easy on the eye, easy to read, so my compliments too. I want to echo what Mrs. Bemis said about the communications funding and, you know, targeting kids and getting the word out. I know that your chair has been advocating for this for years. So I'm sure he's happy to see that in the budget fund. And then 2 other issues that are really, I don't think really in the budget documents that I know are coming up that will have impact. One is the school bus contract. What's the status of that, and what do you see for the future?
We're in year 2, and we have a 6% increase this year where we had a 51% increase last year, correct?
Right. So, yeah, just for the history on that you already know, but we bid the contract just before COVID. There were two bidders, so it was very competitive. We had one of the best rates around the area for 5 years, and then when the 5 years came up and we had a new contract, they had to adjust us way up to what the market rates were because we were below market. So that was the 51% increase, around $1 million increase that year, and that was kind of what we noted. Part of the reason that, you know, that the override was needed, just that dramatic increase. So we signed a 3-year contract with an option for a 4th and 5th year. That's what we always do with the bus contracts. So we are right now thinking about going out to bid early, over a year in advance, to try to get a competitive bid and not continue this contract for the 4th and 5th year. So that is what we're thinking right now. We're going to potentially go out to bid in April or May, and that's 13, 14 months in advance of the contract being over. So a lot of times I think I've heard from bus companies where they don't give a competitive bid because they don't have enough time to buy buses and figure out the logistics to take over contracts. So we want to try to give them plenty of time to be able to bid.
I am concerned as we go to bid with cost of fuel projections right now going up. I don't know. I don't know if sort of the tariff scheme is impacting purchasing of vehicles, like those kinds of things. I'm not sure how that will impact the bid process, but I do think it's still important for us to go out and try and get a better price than what we have now, and instead of just accepting year 4 and 5 as is. Worst case scenario, we don't get a better bid, and then we know that we've got a 6% roughly increase over the next 2 years, the final 2 years of that contract. The contract does
per year.
Per year, yeah. The contract does have a provision in it that would allow them also, though, to apply a fuel surcharge to us if fuel prices go up more than a certain percentage. So they have a protection in the contract. So that's something that we're watching as well, because that would have obviously a budgetary impact.
Chair, just one more question. And that is, I think at last town meeting, the department was authorized to enter into some sort of consulting contract about space utilization, I guess. So where does that stand, and what do you see as a future for that?
Yeah, so there's a little bit of it in the book, just for the public, when this gets published, they can read about. But we have engaged with an architect. It's actually the architect that designed Quinn Middle School. We had multiple architects bid on the job. We selected them. They've been working now for about 3.5 months or so. Chris is involved in that. We have a school committee member that sits. We have a monthly meeting with them. They've been in all of our schools. They have all of the plans for our schools. They've talked to all of our administrators. We put a survey out to staff, just all about space. They've been in just about every corner of every building. So by May into June, the plan is they're supposed to have for us a plan for the school committee that has multiple options that the school committee can choose. These would all be multi-year options because they're going to involve likely building projects or adjustments, and it's not going to be a simple, we'll do this and we'll do it next year. It's going to be something that we need to plan multiple years for.
Stages.
But we asked them to look at everything from the feasibility of changing the grade configurations that we have now to going from 3 elementary schools to 2 elementary schools. Where could central office possibly go to vacate Apsu Street, which is a building that's beyond the end of its life. So we asked them to look at every element, every possibility of what we could do within the limits of what we have in town, and then the school committee would look at those possibilities and then make a long-range plan as to how we might approach that over time. So we're excited about the work that LBA is doing. They're really attentive to our needs. They know the district well because of their work, Bill and Quinn. They know that building really well.
Quinn has really made it a lot easier because they know us.
That's right. They've been really responsive. They went through the high school schedule with a fine-tooth comb to look at each individual section in class, and they've determined what the usage percentage is for each room at Hudson High. Like, that's the level of detail they're getting in. Dan mentioned a new chart on enrollment in here, sort of parallel to the work with LBA, where NESDEC, who does our enrollment every year at a certain level, we use part of the funding we got from town meeting to pay NESDEC to do a deeper analysis on our enrollment, and LBA will use that. Taking more time to look into sort of building trends in town so that they can say, well, the project at Bruin Road is going to be this many units and this is how many kids we project it will infuse at DeForest Ave over the next 5 years. So that level of detail is not usually done in enrollment every year, but it is as part of the study. So we should have a pretty good document that we can share with the board after the school committee sees it in late May, early June.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, there's no vote, I don't.
No, we don't vote, yeah.
No.
Only here to discuss.
We already gave
Scott,
it to
do
you.
you have any questions?
I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Nice job.
Our packet just gained another 50%.
One more on April 8th.
I'm definitely
Thank
not
you.
putting this back into my packet, that's for sure. All right, moving on. 9A, Select Board to accept 2 donations totaling in the amount of $1,500 for the Hudson Senior Center.
So moved.
Second.
And I don't see the paperwork in my packet for that.
Here it is.
Thank you. Those donations were provided by Anna Salamont for $1,000, and another donation of $450 was contributed by someone who deeply values the caregiver support group facilitated by Alex O'Hare from the Health Department. So I just wanted to note that. Maybe it was just not in mine. I don't have it. All those in favor by roll call vote. Ms. Dubriel.
Yes.
Mr. Sherrick.
Yes.
Mr. Duplessis.
Yes.
Ms. Bemis.
Yes.
And I vote yes. 9B, Select Board to consider nomination of Jennifer Condon, no relation, she doesn't have the G in it, and Brenda Monaco as Inspector of Animals pursuant to MGL Chapter 129, Section 15 and 16.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any questions? All right. By roll call vote, Ms. Dubriel.
Yes.
Mr. Sherrick.
Yes.
Mr. Duplessis.
Yes.
And Ms. Bemis?
Yes.
And I vote yes. That passes 5-0. Joan, did you want to say anything on that? Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. 9C, Select Board to consider implementing an ambulance enterprise fund effective July 1, 2026.
So moved.
I'll second that. And would you like to come up and discuss again? How you doing?
Good to leave.
Good, thank you. Long time no see.
It's been a long time.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I don't think Mr. Kelleher was last time, but I'd like to introduce Mike Kelleher as part of Reed Government Services that is part of the team with Peter, and we reintroduced Peter Burke for you this evening. I know there's probably a lot of questions, so we wanted to bring in the consultants back to answer any questions. But before we get into the questions, I kind of wanted to just take a moment and just kind of boil down really what we're doing, just to make sure that everybody really has a good understanding. And this all stems from a problem that we're having with the ability to deliver EMS services to the town of Hudson. As you know, we have a joint contract with the city of Marlborough. Marlborough does approximately 7,000 medical emergencies a year. Hudson does in the area of 2,000 medical emergencies a year. We do that with approximately 4 ambulances. And that is broken down into different daytime and nighttime ambulance, which is far below what the recommended amount of ambulances in each community is. So in Hudson, we have 1 ambulance 24 hours a day. We have a 7 in the morning till 7 at night, 6-day-a-week ambulance. So at nighttime, there's 1 ambulance, and on Sundays, there's only 1 ambulance. Last year, in 2025, Marlborough pulled our ambulances 352 times. When you look at that number, and I didn't break it down to the when we had 1 versus 2, but if you just think about it, that's a lot of times that there was no ambulance in our community. And it's one thing if we're doing our own calls, but we're doing somebody else's calls, and we're augmenting Marlborough. Now, the contract that we have in place, the system we had in place, has been around for 30 years probably, and it was a great idea back in the day to share resources. It doesn't work anymore. It's broken. And that's really the base of what this whole thing is, and that's really why I requested the study. The town of Hudson provides services to our community, and like every other service, it's not a money-making proposition, and we understand that this isn't going to make a lot of money. I shouldn't say make a lot of money. It's not going to make a profit. Our private ambulance companies are designed to make a profit. We're not trying to make a profit. We're trying to provide a service to the town, arguably probably one of the most important services to the town, with funding, user funding that supports that service. So I know there was a lot of questions when we presented to the Finance Committee, and I just want to make sure we're not presenting a package designed necessarily to 100% fund this all the time. I think it can. I think we have to grow the system. We could need some help as we go along. But when we look at the basic numbers that come out of the study, when we're fully implemented at 2 24-hour ambulances, billing $800 a call per approximately 2,000 calls a year, we're generating in the area of $1.6 million that directly pays the salaries for those people. So yes, we could potentially need a little bit of help to get our second ambulance on the road. We could hit some ups and downs, but I think overall, we're solving a serious problem. So if the board doesn't think that this is a viable option, I totally understand that. But the other part of this that I want to bring out is the study is recommending that we go with 2 ambulances. I got a price from our current ambulance provider. I talked to them today, as a matter of fact, to get a price. If we asked our current provider to provide what we're suggesting, we're looking at $400,000 to $500,000 a year that our provider would have to charge to still turn their profit, to still turn those ambulances. So the point of the story is this is going to cost us one way or the other. Whether we go with a fire-based EMS system that can give us cross-trained people that can do potentially 2 jobs, or just a private for-profit company. And again, not to victimize our company at all. They've been a great company. There's great paramedics. But it's just the system we have in place, any additional revenue they get has to be profit. It has to go in their pocket. We're taking whatever revenue we get and we're reinvesting it into the system. It's not perfect. Nothing's perfect. But I think it's a big step forward for this town to fix a long-standing problem, and it also helps us with our fire department staffing. So I just kind of wanted to set the tone, and if there's any questions, I have the experts here that can definitely answer some of those questions.
Well, my understanding is that the initial cost of 900,000, I believe it was, correct?
Yes.
So the whole idea of the enterprise fund is to reduce the effect on the taxpayers, correct? So that initial, that this is going to sustain itself. So the enterprise fund will help reduce the cost. If we had to go and get a second ambulance, that's 100% on the taxpayers, correct?
Right, that's right.
Yep. So if we're looking at an additional $500,000 for a second ambulance, that's 100% on the taxpayers because there is no fund for that.
Correct.
So that's just kind of how I look at that. And I don't think it's arguable. I think that EMS care is one of the top concerns of we have a decent size elderly community, and that is probably 90% of the EMS calls in town.
Yep.
I don't. So I think everybody knows how I feel about this enterprise fund, but the table's obviously open for questions.
Person.
No.
I do have some questions. I'd like to start with Mr. Gregory, and that is, what is the legality involved in getting ambulance service? Is it something that we need to bid, or you can just pick the company that you want?
Oh, so the question is about procurement? So
Procurement,
a
yes.
contract with a private ambulance company is exempt from procurement. There's no competitive procurement requirement for a municipality in Massachusetts to enter into a contract with that service. It doesn't mean that a town couldn't assemble an RFP for the sake of comparing information and data, or issuing a request for information to get some data, formalized as a submission, but there's no requirement to issue bids.
Okay, and Madam Chair.
Go for it.
Chief, I just want to say that I hear you loud and clear. And any questions I ask have nothing to do with whether I believe what you're saying. I do believe, based upon brief conversations we've had in the past, you feel deeply that we need a change in the process. I hear you. My concern is the first time I learned about any of this was less than 2 weeks ago. And now we're being asked to make a major commitment of time and effort and resources into something that I'm not as familiar as my colleague to the left here. I'm just not involved with fire service, not my area of expertise. So I have some concerns. I'm worried about whether this is sustainable long term, especially in light of what's happening at the federal level right now. It's very uncertain whether we can rely upon our federal partners to come through with funding that we expect for things like this, as well as state government, which is hard pressed right now. So that said, I'd like to go through some questions I have about the report. First, about the company.
I just wanted
Go
to
ahead.
comment on, just so you know that, and I'm sure you know this, but whatever happens to the town of Hudson, if we had a system on the federal level, the state level, is going to happen to a private provider. And then if they get not shorted, but if the funding is not there, they're going to turn around and ask us for the funding. So again, it's a service that we're offering. No matter how you slice it, it's going to cost money. And those are generally real concerns. As far as the longevity of a system, in going back, and I know we've thrown this number out a lot, but when you look at the fact that 75% of Massachusetts has a fire-based EMS system, and these systems go back to the 1970s. So they've been very sustainable, and they've stood the test of time. And a lot of these systems, they're all different in their makeup and how much they take from the EMS revenue to augment the fire department and back and forth. So, I understand your concern, and I totally respect that. But I think when you look at the longevity of fire-based EMS, the amount of fire-based EMS, and whatever happens to us is going to happen to a private provider. So we're all gonna suffer that fate if something should happen. But we're still going to have to pay for it one way or the other, because they would just turn around and increase the price.
I hear you on that.
Yep.
I just feel a bit under the gun here, and lacking information and lacking time to really vet this fully. But let me just mention a couple things in this report, if that's okay, Madam Chair. Page 14 refers to training costs. What are the training costs?
So every year for our personnel, We would have the continuing education and the national core curriculum, which is to recert their EMT certifications. So we bring our people in, they do their training. They have to do it off duty because it's a course that you have to sign and acknowledge. It's 40 hours of training over a 2-year period.
How much was that again?
It's 40 hours of training over a 2-year period to recertify.
What does that cost?
It would be
For 16 people?
400, I think.
What is it?
$5,400?
$5,400 per person.
No, yeah, I think it was total annually.
Yep.
I left the other book from the last
So
time.
5,400 times 16 times
No,
2.
5,400 total.
Total?
Yeah.
Okay. That gives me some,
And again, there's different models out there as
that's
well.
not a major number, so that's fine.
No, and there's different models too. So there's certain, if you can package that with a billing company, they'll provide continuing education and refresher service. So again, there's a lot of different ways to skin this cat.
And page 16, at least on the one I got last meeting, talks about considerable overtime costs. What does that considerable mean?
Just like the fire department, just like the police department, we have overtime costs, sick time, vacation time. If we have a significant incident being held over for that incident, so it's.
Yeah, but what does considerable mean? Quantify, please. Give me a ballpark. Are we talking about
So the fire department right now.
$250,000 a year? Or what are we talking about?
So for 32 people, the fire department has a budget of approximately $600,000 in overtime. So if you take 16 people, and that's just very rough numbers, we would need that same exact overtime, but I'd have to get that information. I'd probably have to do it more. I don't have that.
Page 16 also talks about issues with hiring, concerns about being able to actually fill these jobs. How significant is that concern?
In this market, it's a concern, something that you need to, there's changes in civil service and the ability to hire now, so they've made that a little bit easier. But you want to be competitive in the job market as well. That's why we kind of identified some of the different elements of the pay plan to try to attract people to come work here.
Well, I'll stop there and let my colleagues ask some questions, I guess.
And that's fine. If I could, and I apologize for feeling that you're feeling rushed. I understand that. We've been working on this for well over a year between identifying the problem. We're working with Marlboro. I meet regularly with the Marlboro Fire Chief. So I understand it's rushed, but there's a couple things to consider. Is the City of Marlboro and the Fire Department share the exact same concerns that I have. So this is this goes across both communities. The timing isn't the greatest, but we also have a contract that expires July 1st. So we basically have three choices. We leave things the way they are. We look at trying to fund a different system, but the unknowns here are if Marlboro would decide to go in a different direction, if Marlboro would decide to do their own thing, just like we're considering. I don't know where that leaves us. We could turn around, if we weren't part of a combined system, we could turn around and be requesting an ambulance, and right now we don't have the funds to appropriate that. So they could turn around and come in and charge us or give us less of a service. So it is rushed, but we have to figure out what we're going to do by July 1st to make sure that we have an ambulance. And again, the wild card is what Marlboro's going to do, and I don't know what they're going to do yet. But we're relying on right now what another city does. So
I guess I do have one more question, and that is, this is contingent upon $900,000 from free cash going into the enterprise fund.
correct.
What if we don't have free cash certified by town meeting?
Well, we'll have it certified, if not for May 4th, for a recess town meeting in June, so before June 30th.
So it's before the July 1st.
Right.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Dubler?
Through you, Madam Chair. So I know there's been lots of questions and stuff. I didn't know if you had gotten or were able to provide any data from other municipalities, because you have expressed that other municipalities are using this, but do we have proof of concept from other municipalities that have made this transition and how they've gone through it and what their numbers look like.
Could you just elaborate a little bit? What do you mean proof of concept?
So from my perspective, again, I do understand that this is very important, and I completely agree that something needs to change and something needs to shift. But the way that it's being presented leaves a lot of questions as far as like, how is this actually going to work? You've mentioned that 75% of the towns are using this system. How did they make that transition? What steps did they take to protect themselves? What did the numbers actually look like from year to year? What kind of deficits did they experience for the first 3 years or something like that? Did they do a slow roll? Did they go straight to 2 ambulances, for example? Like those kind of additional pieces of information just to kind of like bring comfort, because this is a big step, this is a big leap, and I'm not feeling very safe in taking this step right now.
So I think one of the challenges is that most of the communities in Massachusetts did this in the late 60s, early 70s. There was the National Highway Safety Act, which came out in the early 70s, recognized EMS as an essential public service. And that's when most of the communities, there's been a few communities over the last decade, Melrose comes to mind, that actually brought their ambulance into the fire department. So I think to find like a modern case study of where this has happened is really, in most towns Hudson size, like I come from a very similar sized community, run ambulances. So it's unique that you don't actually. It's kind of, and I think it shows kind of in the growth of your fire service as well too. Most communities over the last 30 years have added firefighters to their staffing. You haven't since 1987. That's pretty significant. I mean, think of the growth of the town of Hudson. How many teachers have you added? How many DPW workers? To not grow the fire department, I was kind of shocked by that. I think what's in front of you today is really a public policy decision, right? So you guys are the board. You're going to make an important public policy decision on the health care of your citizens, right? These are the people that take care of your kids and your parents, and I think it's an essential, really, public safety functions. Like in my opinion, one of the most important. So I think what really you're weighing is, the chief has identified a problem. There's a problem with your EMS system, right? We provided a bunch of towns. All of them provide multiple ambulances to the community the size of Hudson. We looked at the social vulnerability index. We've looked at a bunch of factors, and in every benchmark class, you're below in what you provide for your EMS service. So then we said, all right, how do we address this? If we recognize there's a problem, how do we address it? And you could pay a private provider, bring it in, but we wanted to look at what provided the best value for the citizens of Hudson. The thing that we decided is adding firefighters to your staffing bolsters the fire department, and there's tangible benefits of adding firefighters to your staffing too. So when the insurance industry looks at your firefighter staffing, when they set your insurance rates, they take the number of firefighters on duty into account. So there's a potential you could save on your homeowner's insurance as well. So that's the ISO rating comes in. But there's other benefits that now you have people that work for your community. You have control over the billing rates. You have control over the staff. You have control over, what you provide for service. Right now, you have no control over any of it. You don't have control over the employees. Things like vaccines in the community, mobile integrated health, innovation, right? You decide you want to start up. There's many fire-based EMS systems providing blood transfusions in the field. They're providing ultrasounds in the field. You're not even paying for a service. You're contracting for a service. You're getting an ambulance. That's kind of it, And if that's okay with you as the public policy makers, I mean that's fine. But I think you're going to have a crisis at some point where there's going to be people in here demanding accountability because we know that we're not providing like a standard level of service. So I guess it's just how do you want to address that? You don't get an increase in service without an increase in cost. They go together. So I think it's just a matter of kind of picking a direction.
Could I just add too briefly on the discussion about other towns? The town of Shrewsbury is on a parallel track with us, looking to move away from the private provider to a fire-based EMS system. They're convinced in the need to do this and that this is the right decision for them. I just wanted to point that out. So.
Yeah, and I think that Marlborough is our only abutting community that does not have an ambulance. All of our surrounding communities from Hudson are EMS based. And I just want to add as well that this will be cross-trained staff as well. So that's going to increase the staffing of the fire department by 16, so that if there was a structure fire, they will be able to be cross-trained and they will be responding to those calls. So.
What
And they will be, I'm sorry, because you brought this up the last time, but I know that maybe some people didn't watch this the last time, but there's plenty of times right now where the tower truck, which is 52 feet long and 100 feet in the air, operated by one person. So if nobody comes back on a callback and there's a structure fire, that person has to set up that truck, pull the outriggers out, put the plates down, climb the ladder, cut the roof, and do it all by themselves. If there was EMS staff for there, that EMS staff who is cross-trained in firefighting will be able to assist that. It's dangerous, let alone driving that truck by yourself, let alone, doing forcible entry or rescue as a one-man show.
This is exactly what you asked for.
Yeah, just more about the logistics of how they rolled it out and what the annual impacts were on them is more what I was.
Yeah, and it varies between, break even, some depending on volume, and rates, insurance rates that the board would set. Reimbursement rates, I'm sorry.
Right. So I guess for me, the concerns, so I have lots of different directions that we just all went in. But to go back to where we were as far as speaking about like just the financial elements of this, like it is $900,000 is not a small amount of money to take that first step. It's a significant step that needs to be taken, and I do understand that. But I do, when I was listening to the Finance Committee meeting, one thing that you said, Chief, honestly kind of scared me, was that you said that, well, if it doesn't work, we can always go back. And go back to what it was. And that mentality of just, well, we're going to throw $900,000 at it. Hopefully it works and goes back. And I'm sure that was not your intent, but that did throw up some red flags as what is, the backup plan? What is the contingency? If this isn't working, what then happens with that first massive initial investment? What happens if we've then hired 16 firefighters and then an EMS personnel that we then now, it's not working, and now we have to roll back. So it's that concern of the speed at which we're going at, and that I do feel like there are still some holes and some things that we could flesh out a little bit better. I'm not saying wait forever. I personally would prefer to wait till November. I do understand that we have the July 1st deadline. Has there been a consideration of, asking for a temporary extension on it? One of the things that you had mentioned at the Finance Committee meeting was that you have talked to another provider as far as potentially helping us kind of bridge that gap with that second ambulance, because we would start off with one and then have them bridge the gap with the second ambulance. Could they bridge for that 6 months, bridge with 2 ambulances, and then once everything were good, we're really ready to roll out, then could they roll back to 1 ambulance? Those are the kind of financial concerns that I have. I have other ones as well, but if you would like to respond.
So our contract expires July 1st.
Yes.
Barbara's contract expires July 1st. So we have that kind of thrown in the mix. We don't know what they're going to do. We don't know how that's going to affect us. If we don't have a combined system, that's definitely the call volume in Hudson alone won't support 2 ambulances, right, with a profit. So it would be hard pressed to find somebody to come in without making a profit to just give us a service for free. Nothing's for free, right? So extending it, we could try to extend it, but we still have that July 1st contract looming over us. So I think it's time to make a decision one way or the other. I think it's time to either go forward with this or not go forward with this, in which is why we're just trying to present to you the problem, the solutions, and leave it up to your judgment as to how we go forward. It's not a great situation. I understand this. I understand there's a lot of holes. I understand that it's not perfect. And I understand that it is a big chunk of money to lay down forward. The study does reflect that we should be able to, based on all of the data, based on our calls over time, they've been consistent and growing. Based on what other communities are doing, we should be able to easily support $1.5 million in salaries from ambulance revenue, and those are all conservative numbers. And that's where I think the benefit really is. We're going to be able to hire 16 people and pay for those 16 people without coming back to the tax for tax dollars. Yes, we may need some help getting our second ambulance. We may need some help implementing some protocol changes, some equipment. But overall, the biggest chunk of this is user funded. And I think that's where we need to look. And again, we can stay where we are, or we can grow, and it's really, that's the decision that has to be made.
Could I just point out, too, another consideration here for the board to think about, is the window for appropriating from free cash will close on June 30th. And that's appropriating 25, for our case, 24 and 25 free cash. So we wouldn't have that as a funding source in November. We've never had free cash in November available for funding. So if we're going to delay this, which I don't recommend we do, we would have to use a different funding source, stabilization fund, or so.
So you said that it was how much? That it was 1.9 million?
So if, with operating 2 ambulances, we're looking at $1.6 million.
1.6. And I believe I read somewhere in here that it was 2.2 million to run the 2, so that's a $700,000 gap annually.
I think I have that wrong then.
Yeah. No, it was if you implemented full today, it was about a $200,000 gap. If you did it.
Procuring ambulances, upfront, all equipment, fully staffing on day 1.
And that's assuming $800 per trip.
Net revenue per transport, yes.
Okay. But I'm assuming, and I don't know because I don't have from here, what percentage of our count comes from people who are insured with Medicare, which
so
does not.
When we talk about net revenue per transport, that's combining all of those Medicare, Medicaid, private insurance, auto insurance, bundling all that together, and then laying it out as, one transport equals $800.
So I understand that the private insurers are the ones that are carrying the large cost, and I understand
Probably,
that.
30% of your patients pay 70% of your.
Right. But as the age continues to increase, the people who are on Medicare is going to continue to grow, and the people who have private insurance is going to theoretically shrink, and then that gap is going.
Again, there's a lot of other factors too that play into that. So highway, there's auto insurance. There's if you had a prison, there would be more mass health. If you have like in my community, we have a large presence of urgent care. Our actually insured rate is a lot higher. So it depends on the mix of the community.
So this is what I'm talking about when I'm saying I don't feel like we're getting the whole picture, right? Because I feel like there's a lot of different questions and there's a lot of different factors, because this is a very complicated issue. This is a big thing, and the fact that you're saying that, but we can cover it this way, that's great, but that's not in this report, and we weren't able to kind of like analyze that information. And there are definitely different bits and pieces in here, and that honestly for me has been raising more questions than I've felt like I've gotten answers. The hard numbers of how things, I'm not the finance committee, but I do know the finance committee did not vote to approve this, so the numbers people did not feel comfortable, and I understand we're more of the policy end of things, but even from the policy end of things, I do have questions as far as, did we actually investigate? Because you're presenting an option, but there's not an alternative option also being presented. We're not being asked to weigh 2 different fully vetted options. I do understand that there were some elements that were mildly briefly addressed, but a whole we would recommend either this or this route. We would prefer this route, but this is the other option. That wasn't in here as far as what that would cost us to solve the problem just in 2 different paths. Now I'm getting that it would cost $400,000 to $500,000 to add that extra half of an ambulance to get us up to 2. So that does help understand the whole picture, but I'm getting that right now. And then the other.
I don't think that, it's just not, if you were going to, were you about to change topics for that or a different question?
I don't know. Honestly,
I don't think that it's fair to ask this committee or this board how much a private ambulance is going to cost. That's not a fair question for them. They can't give a report on how much a private ambulance company costs. They can tell you a guesstimate of $400,000 to $500,000, but they can't give you an amount on that because they don't run the private ambulance company.
No, but our fire chief or our town manager could get that information.
And I did. I reached
yes,
out
exactly.
To the company and I got
that's
an estimate to make us whole for 2 ambulances 24/7.
And that's extremely helpful.
Which is $400,000 to $500,000 every year.
And I understand.
And what I'm hearing is that if Marlboro decides to go out on their own, I'm assuming Pride Star is not going to want to stay with Hudson. They're going to drop us, and then we're going to be without an ambulance company because it's not profitable for them.
So
That's the way I'm hearing this.
They could potentially drop us, or they could drop the amount of ambulances we have and just give us one ambulance. So I totally get everybody's
Right, but it's a
concerns.
lot of what ifs.
There's a
right,
ton
but
of
we
what
can't
ifs.
predict what Pride Star wants to do because we're not Pride Star. We're the town of Hudson. So
And there's so many moving pieces. I get what you're saying. I totally get it. I totally understand. It's a lot. It's a lot. I wish we had more time, but again, we have a contract that expires July 1st. Couldn't come at a worse time. We're trying to get the best information to you so that you can make a decision on where we go, and that's it's not perfect.
I think we also just have to, one of our bigger concerns, or should be, if it is for me anyways, is the level of care that our residents are getting. And from emails and everything else that I've received, that they're not even getting a decent level of care when they are getting an ambulance from Pride Star. So whether or not there's other private ambulance companies that we could bring in that could provide better or not, I don't know. I just know that from my experience in the fire service and communities that have brought on, I have not heard of an unsuccessful department that has brought in an EMS-based or an ambulance-based fire service and have it fail. I have not heard of that. Have you? You two are the
No, and the
experts.
other thing we haven't talked about either is there's alternative funding sources that we can look at. As a public ambulance service, you're eligible to apply for additional Medicaid funding. Medicare funding, so you can do that. There's grant programs through FEMA where the chief could pursue to try to hire firefighters under that grant program that are EMTs and paramedics to try to augment the service and give you kind of a buffer period to try to, again, jumpstart that service. But yeah, it's not a small task, and it's not.
So from my perspective, it does sound like there are a lot of answers. Like, for example, other towns that have brought this on that you've said that have been successful. Could we get a little bit of more information from other towns that have brought it on, that have been successful? Could we get a little bit of information about what those other funding sources are? Could we get a little bit more information? Now, add in here's the alternative would be adding $400,000 annually. Yes, we might have a gap of $200,000 a year, but this is what it would cost to add if nothing else changed to our current situation. If we could just get a more compact picture, a more complete picture, I would feel more comfortable. If you are asking me to make a choice right now, I don't feel comfortable with all of the information that I have in the report that is in front of me. I feel better after this conversation, but I still would like some time to see if there's other things, other questions and other concerns that I have. So if we are making this decision now, I am still not comfortable. But if we could get a little bit more data, numbers, a little bit more specifics as far as how we can protect ourselves as a town, because we are not doing super well financially, and I would feel horrible if we took this path and then we ended up with no ambulances at all. And I understand if not going down this path, we could also end up with no ambulances at all, and neither is a good path. But I feel like we're being kind of shoved into a bad corner, and I don't like that feeling. And if we could come up with a more complete picture, it would be.
I'm not a shover, and I'm not trying to shove anybody into a corner. I'm not trying to
No,
make you
the situation is, not you, absolutely.
Right. It's a bad situation. It's a situation that's been here for a really long time. Yeah. It's a situation that I'm just trying to fix. So, and again, I can't tell you enough how, I can't apologize enough that we're trying to pull this off quick before the contract expires. We're trying to get as much data as we can, and these gentlemen did a tremendous amount of work to try to reach out to these other communities, to try to put all this information again, to show that we can make money. We will.
Do you have that? I'm sorry. Do you have that chart of the communities and the revenue and?
Yeah.
I think that's.
Yeah, we have the community, the county, the population, the land area, the density, but nothing about revenue.
Okay.
If we were to table this, how much time do you have?
What's your deadline? What's your drop dead in order to?
And if we table this, is there a way that we can get the questions through to Mr. Gregory to get to you before we come back at maybe our next meeting to discuss this?
Yeah.
sure.
Well, I think it's important to just keep in mind that the select board is voting
Voting on the
tonight
warrant
on the
tonight.
warrant. And so,
And this will-
I've had to have those 3 draft articles on there for discussion, deliberation
Yeah.
purposes for the finance committee, so,
And we vote on the warrant itself and just exclude those particular articles just for now and then revisit those at the next meeting?
then, the next meeting is April 13th, and that, what's the deadline? That runs us up against the deadline,
For the warrant.
submit the warrant to the community advocate.
Could we have a special meeting between now and April 13th, whether it's Zoom or not?
Yeah.
In maybe a week? For those particular items?
For the,
So we could potentially have a special meeting.
next week?
In a
next
week.
As provided any other questions are filtered through you and not directly to the ambulance committee.
Yeah, I suppose we could do that. The board could sign the warrant without these 3 articles, and then next week at a special meeting is what you're suggesting.
Yes.
Yep.
This group would provide the board with additional information, and then you could make a more informed decision then. Is
Yep.
that what I'm?
Yep.
Be very helpful.
So if we did it next week, the deadline would be, I guess, Thursday? Sorry, that's my son on emergency bypass. Would Thursday be the deadline if we were having a meeting sometime next week? Or maybe if we did the meeting next Wednesday?
I have to send it to the newspaper by the 17th. However, this is a long warrant, and they typically like
More.
as much time as they can.
The 17th of April,
April.
right.
So
So
if we,
So that doesn't preclude the board from having a special meeting next
so we
week.
could have a special
to
meeting.
consider
next-
those 3 articles, is what you're asking.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Could we just make sure that the exact questions are emailed to Mr. Gregory?
I want them to go through, I want them
Yeah.
to be filtered through.
But if we get the exact questions to answer, then we can all kind of work on making sure that we get the answers that you're looking for.
So the board will send the questions through me, and then I'll direct them to the chief and the consultants.
Does that
Okay.
work?
and a deadline for the questions.
And I just want to check, Mr. Duplessis, do you have any questions? We've kind of, you're not even breathing over there.
No, yes, I am. No, I mean, I'm fine with that. I guess the other thing too would be to also, if, you know, like Lauren said, she has further questions in any of the board members, but also if there's anything that the current provider would like to provide to
Bless you.
the board, in addition to that, then I think it's only fair we let them provide any comment also.
Would you,
That way the board can digest. I know there was somebody asked a question in regards to, well, we don't know what the other,
Alternative.
you know, like Pride Star would do or what would happen or all that. So I think it's only fair that if there's questions that maybe they get to see what they are and if they could provide that. But
would you like to have Mr.
also
Gregory
the
reach
question-
out? Or would you like to have Chief Desitell
well-
reach out and ask to see if there's anything that they would like to provide?
I think that should go right between the chief and Mr. Gregory. But I mean, if you know, again, if it's whether it's Lauren, Steve, you, or Diane, or myself, then if there's any of that out there, let's get it cleared up now.
Between now and next week?
With those questions before the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
So can I just, since we're talking about the next meeting, so it would make sense to set that date and time right now, so I can write it down.
Sure.
And we're all on the same page.
Yep.
So realistically, when would you like to, how much time would you like to have to answer these
Is a
questions?
week even long enough to answer all
Yeah,
those
I mean, I mean,
So if we make the deadline, say, to get Mr. Gregory the questions by this Friday, that's not going to really give you enough time, right? So I would say that the questions would have to be in Mr. Gregory's office in the next few days,
By like Wednesday or
Wednesday or Thursday, to give you
Thursday.
enough time to be able to answer the questions, and then we could potentially have the meeting next Friday, even if it was at noon?
The 3rd, which is
Okay.
Good Friday?
Okay.
I mean, my kids don't have school, so I'm gonna have to bring them, but.
Well, we would do it as Zoom, yeah. We could do it Thursday, the 26th. No,
I would
I'm
prefer
referring
Friday.
to Next
The-
week
the
is
meeting.
the 27th. No, I'm sorry, you're right, April 3rd.
It's April 2nd.
April
It's
2nd?
Thursday.
Is a Thursday, yeah,
I would prefer not a Thursday since I teach.
okay. April,
Unless
April,
if-
April 3rd works, but if
Yeah.
that doesn't work, town hall's open on April 3rd, correct?
It's a Friday, but you close at noon, right? On Friday? The meeting would be,
It would be a Zoom meeting, I would, it would be a special meeting for a Zoom. We've done them at noontime before.
I can't, well,
The time doesn't matter.
Right.
I'm looking to accommodate the town and
and we'd want people to be able to,
have time to put the questions in.
exactly, but also, we have to publish and we want other people to
That's what I'm
be
saying, we need to
listening.
give the time to the town.
Can we look at the week of the 6th instead, then? That gives us some,
Is that cutting too close for you?
Yeah, this.
For the warrant?
I mean,
because that's not going into the week of the 13th, because there's 2 weeks in between.
But if,
it could only really be next week.
yeah,
So it has to be,
The biggest challenges I see is depending on what your questions are, how much
how much time you
research
need.
those questions require. I don't know.
we make the deadline, the questions, for Mr. Gregory, Wednesday the 25th, come, say noontime. And we could potentially have a meeting on April 1st, which is a week later.
Can we
So
get-
that would give.
you a week?
That would give you a week, and then that would give the town enough time to put notice out for another meeting.
Yep.
Because they need to have 48 hours in advance to notify the public of a meeting.
Okay.
So does that work?
So Wednesday, April 1st would be the Zoom
Potentially,
meeting? Yep.
Joan, do you have?
What's the concern?
So the concern is about the date of signing.
Okay. But could we sign the warrant without these three and then?
We're
you-
suggesting not doing these three, and that's what we'll vote on.
On April 1st.
Getting them back in the warrant. So if you have the warrant, you sign it. That's a date that we're using. How are we getting them back in the warrant? We're kind of taking them out of the warrant. You have to bring them back.
So we could
Could
could we
sign
table the whole
warrant
warrant
on the
until
April
April
1st?
1st?
You can delay. You can delay. So yeah, I mean, that's a
Delay
good-
the signing of the warrant until
And then
April
we'll
1st.
we'll just get into the town hall to sign it.
Right.
Because the signing of the warrant is justified above all the other articles, especially if we have a debt exclusion question.
Sure. So we could potentially table the warrant tonight.
until next Wednesday.
Until
Next
Wednesday, the
Wednesday.
That's
1st.
fine. Okay.
Okay?
Does that work?
I think that's better, and then you'll get time for the questions, and we'll have that meeting on April 1st, and then we'll go in physically to sign it on April 1st. So the meeting will have to be early in the day.
Okay.
Do we all
Any-
have to sign it on the same exact day?
Three people have to sign it.
Yeah, just three, so,
On the same day?
Ideally.
Yes.
yeah. So we'd have that meeting fairly early in the morning, like say
We
10
had-
or 11 or noon or,
Noon?
good to know.
So I would like to table the discussion. I'd like to make a motion to table the discussion for the implementation of an enterprise fund so that we have time the board has time to ask more
Submit
questions.
questions.
And have a special meeting on April 1st to sign the warrant.
And, yeah, to vote on this and then sign the warrant.
Yeah.
What time did you say? I'm
Say
sorry.
noontime on the 1st
Is that new? Is that good?
Yeah.
That's good.
By Zoom.
by Zoom.
By Zoom. So April 1st. And then at least three of us to get in there and sign it physically, which
Okay,
would be
so I've
fine.
made the motion.
Second,
Okay. All those in favor by roll call vote. Ms. Dubrow? Yes. Mr. Sherrick?
Yes,
Madam Vice Chair,
Yes.
not debatable.
could I just go back for a second? So,
Sure.
right now, we are discussing the enterprise fund,
Correct.
correct? But also later on, we're voting on the
We're gonna-
signing the town meeting warrant.
Not
We're
to-
going to table
Table
that
that.
when we get to that number.
Okay, but I thought your motion said to table the signing the town meeting warrant also.
We are going to do that. That's the hope, that everyone will vote to table the signing of the warrant till April 1st. That Joan is here as well, and she said that would work.
Right.
Yep.
Right, but what I'm saying is, the motion was two things.
Well, the
I think
motion.
the motion should be right.
Apologize. The motion is to
just
table
to
the ambulance enterprise.
fund.
Okay, that is my motion.
Second.
And it's been seconded.
Right, thanks.
Ms. Dubreuil.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Sherrick.
Yes.
Mr. Duplessis.
Yes.
Ms. Bemis.
Yes.
I vote yes. Tabled until April 1st.
Thank you so much.
Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. 9D, Select Board to consider approving and signing their annual their 2025 annual report.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on the annual report? Nope. By roll call vote, Ms. Dubreuil?
Yes.
Mr. Sherrick?
Yes.
Mr. Duplessis?
Yes.
Ms. Bemis?
Yes.
I vote yes. 9E, Select Board to consider authorizing revisions to the town's personnel regulations.
Madam Chair, I can give a brief synopsis of this. There's a memo in your packet.
Sure.
3 items here. The first is vacation leave.
Yes.
We had negotiated a change to vacation leave with the clerical union, which accelerates the use of their ability to accrue and use vacation. It's less punitive. So in the model right now, or the for the non-union, when they're hired, they can't begin using vacation until they've worked for 6 months. At 6 months, they get 5 days, and then at the 12-month mark, they get a year. What this would do for new employees hired, new non-union employees, is mirror what we negotiated with the clerical union, which means new hires would start and immediately start accruing vacation time, and then after 90 days, they'd be able to start using it.
Yeah.
So it front loads, I suppose is another way to say it, or accelerates the accrual. It makes it less punitive for new hires.
Great.
So, and that would be for new hires prospectively out. It wouldn't change the benefit for existing. Yeah.
Okay.
Can I ask a question regarding that? If somebody was to be hired, but they already had a vacation plan, for instance, do you make exceptions for that? Like if it's known at the time of hiring, but you.
Usually that doesn't happen. I can't recall that happening in my time here.
That's so.
Is that something that you're willing to be flexible with? I'm just curious how that works out.
I think it probably fall on the department head.
Yeah, I can't imagine that's kind of it's an interesting question, but because if you do it once, if you honor it once, then you always have to honor that. And I can't recall an instance in my time here that we honored that. Usually employees would adjust their start time if they have to. If the vacation is out not too far in the future, the start time would be adjusted. But I can't think of a.
Yeah, they might be able to take the vacation time and not
Right.
Yeah, I mean, if they're starting, say, or if their vacation's not planned for 6 to 9 months, they'll be covered because at that 6-month mark, they'll have.
But this is 90 days. That's
Right.
the change. The
No,
90
I
days.
understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Just curious.
The second item here is just a change to the eliminates the clothing allowance for the building maintenance coordinator because that position no longer exists. And it also updates the title of the staff that are working in the police station lobby now. They're no longer dispatchers. They are the records clerk and lobby receptionist supervisor positions. And the final item here, personal days, is the introduction of personal days. Right now, we have in the personnel regulations an incentive day that's made available to employees if they don't use their sick leave in 6 months. The following 6 months, they get an incentive day to use, and it just rolls from 6-month increments like that forward. It's hard to track. It's a little bit cumbersome. So the idea is to do what we did with negotiated with the clerical union, eliminate the incentive day provision that's tied to sick leave usage, and just give employees 2 personal days to use in the course of the fiscal year. Cannot be rolled over, but it just streamlines. It streamlines kind of clunky, cumbersome benefit, and it's just easier to track. And this we would make effective for July 1st. Okay, so that would be the start of the new or the implementation of these personal days. And if an employee has earned a personal or incentive day in those 6 months leading up to July 1st, we would honor that, right? We wouldn't take that away from them. We would honor that in that next 6 months period, and that would be the only time where there might be an overlap. Does that make sense?
They might have three, but.
They'd have in that scenario, the incentive day plus 2 personal days. But
Are there any questions? Okay.
I'm curious. I've always had contracts that had personal days. It's a use it or lose it kind of a deal, which is what you're suggesting.
Yes.
And the incentive day, do you have any concept of whether or not this is going to be more use of personal days versus incentive days or less use? I mean, the incentive days, I understand they have to have, they don't use their sick time for 6 months, and then they earn an incentive day, so they could possibly earn 2 in a year. I'm just wondering if we're guaranteeing that they're going to get 2, no matter what.
that's right.
Yeah.
So is this going to be more costly?
It probably will be a little bit because there'll be more leave time, because not everyone is earning that incentive day, to your point. So there'll be more opportunities for leave.
Yeah.
But there's no.
But there's no overtime for that leave.
There's no. Yeah, that's what I was
there's
getting
no
at. There's no
overtime.
like backfilling of those positions, what you see
Okay.
in the public safety
Right.
department. So there's no like cost to cover.
Okay.
So it would just be more leave.
Yeah. Okay.
Being
I was
made
just
available, yeah.
wondering about coverage and so forth, as opposed to
Yeah.
they had to earn it by not, going out, and this time they don't earn it, they're given it.
That's right.
Okay.
Cannot be rolled over to
Right.
be used in the
That's pretty standard.
standard. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. All those in favor by roll call, Ms. Dubreuil.
Yes.
Mr. Sherrick.
Yes.
Mr. Duplessis.
Yes.
Ms. Bemis.
Yes.
And I vote yes. Let's see. Select Board to consider revising Article 36, Audit Committee on the annual town meeting warrant.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Is there any discussion? Do you want
Maybe Mr. Sherrick would like to.
All yours.
Okay. So the board knows that there are 2 general bylaw articles that seek to do similar things, to create an audit committee. One, it's been sponsored by the select board. The other's been sponsored by a citizen. Mr. Sherrick reached out to me, and in an attempt to try to find some middle ground, let's say, between the board's article and the petitioner's article, has suggested the board consider some amendments to the existing article that the board had created, and that's what's in your packet. You see revisions in bold here, and this is the thought behind this is to perhaps find a middle, as I said, middle path to where the petitioner's article stands. So, did I?
Is that accurate?
Did I
Yes, it
accurately
is.
answer?
And I just want to also say, Madam Chair, that I spoke to Attorney Paul DeRensis, our town council, and he reviewed all these things. So let me just briefly go through them for everybody who's watching. So the name of the section has been changed from 6.16 to 6.15. We have in Section A, the title now of that section is called Composition. We have added law as one of those areas where we would be seeking residents. We added proposed to add a sentence that says, prior to making appointments, the Select Board shall seek recommendations from the Finance Committee and School Committee. Section B just adds in bold terms of office as the title of that section. Section C is now titled Election of Officers and also adds the position of Vice Chair. Section D is now called Powers and Duties, and it starts with a new bullet called, which says the Audit Committee is empowered and charged as follows, and it adds this language: to provide advice with respect to the town's financial condition, financial management systems and controls, and annual audit. And on the reverse side, bullet 2, we add to this line, to receive and review town financial statements, auditors' reports, and auditor management letters, and then adds this language: and following receipt, transmit a copy of the completed audit, including management letters and related communications to the Finance Committee, School Committee, and Select Board. And with those changes, we come very close to what the petitioner, Mr. Abyss, has put on the warrant, and he put it on there for good cause, and I want to thank him for his zealous advocacy for an audit committee, because I share the concerns that we really do need this. But I think we're kind of mirror images of what he's got now, and while he's made no representations to me about what he will do at town meeting, I'm confident that he's more satisfied with this than the version currently before us.
Okay.
So I would ask for your support on those changes.
Through you, Madam Chair. Sure. Since Mr. Biss is here and these are the two competing articles, would we see if he wants to say anything?
Would you like
Sure.
to, are you okay with these changes? Sure.
So,
Could you just state your name and address, please?
Ryan Biss, 20 Orchard Drive. Mr. Sherrick and I did discuss the key differences between the language I proposed and the language that is in the Select Board article. The changes added do address the majority of them. I'm certainly more comfortable with having that language. I still very much favor just to be honest, the language in my version. It is more aligned with what other towns have used. It is a little bit more fulsome in terms of describing what the duties are. I think it's still, the version here, I think, did not capture independence concerns. My version does still note that the audit committee should be checking independence of the independent auditor. My recommendation would be I would ask if we're very close, why not have the Select Board withdraw and support the citizens petition personally.
Well, the Select Board had already voted on a motion on a previous version of this. So I think that would be where one of the complications lie. That we would have to sit down and then we wouldn't even have to vote on yours. You would just simply keep your petition on the warrant, and it would get voted on at town meeting. But this is the article that because the Select Board is in favor of an audit committee, we are putting this forward on the warrant. And this is what we were comfortable with, and now we're here with another change. And I mean, that's what we're voting on tonight. So I mean, you're entitled to do whatever you want with your citizens article. But we're ready to vote on what's in front of us tonight. Okay. Mr. Duplessis, do you have any questions for Mr. Biss?
No, I don't. Thank you.
All right, very good. All right, thank you. Are there any other questions?
I do have a question, but I'm not sure if it's better suited for here or if we are going to talk at all under 9G.
We will not be if we vote to not discuss the warrant.
Okay, so then I just have a question as far as like the logistics of where the audit committee articles are placed within the warrant itself, because there's space in there and it seems like it would potentially create some confusion, and I didn't know if they could be closer aligned, like one numerically after the other, so they could be discussed in tandem at town meeting to try to avoid having a situation where...
I think that citizens' issues always come at the end.
Yeah, and I think the moderator could take the petition article out of order
And
right
pull it
after
forward.
36 to that, so that that would be a request of the moderator, but I think she would entertain that.
By roll call, all those in favor of accepting the audit committee's annual town meeting warrant?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Dubriel. Mr. Sherrick?
Yes.
Mr. Duplessis?
Yes.
Ms. Bemis?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay. 9G, Select Board to consider signing the May 4th, 2026 town meeting warrant, and I'm going to make a motion that we table that until April 1st.
So moved.
Second. Oh.
Any discussion? No? Okay. In roll call.
Madam Vice Chair,
Go for
just just, I know it was discussed earlier, but just note, table it till April 1st, but that, are we also voting that that's going to be a Zoom meeting?
That is going to be a Zoom meeting, yes. Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Do you want to vote on the Zoom meeting, or do you want to?
No,
Okay.
that's fine.
All right, I'm just checking.
Nope.
Thank you. It will be a Zoom meeting at noontime on April 1st. And that's when we will be discussing the warrant only. Correct? The warrant only and the ambulance. Yes. Okay. All those in favor of tabling the town meeting warrant, Ms. Dubreuil?
Yes.
Mr. Shea?
Yes.
Mr. Duplessis?
Yes.
Ms. Bemis?
Yes.
And I vote yes. And citizens' issues, we have none. Board topics, Ms. Dubreuil.
Yes, I have one. Just so everybody is aware, there is the continuation of the Board of Health transfer station hearings. One is tomorrow night at 6 p.m. And then there is the potential for two more, April 1st and April 2nd, both at 6 p.m. at the Hudson High School, and it also can be viewed live stream on HUD-TV.
Thank you. Mr. Sherrick?
I am all set.
Mr. Duplessis? Any?
None, thank you.
And Ms. Bemis?
I have two. First of all, I want to thank the fire department in all of their efforts for recently responding to a fire on Main Street, and also the 75 Reed Road development. They were supposed to have a hearing on the sound study that was done by Epsilon and the peer review for the town of that sound study and any additional changes that they've made to the original plans made by National Development. Well, that meeting that was supposed to be March 25th, which was Wednesday, is now continued until March 31st. And it will be a Zoom meeting. So March 31st, the public hearing for the 75 Reed Road development, and it will be discussing the sound study and the town's peer review of that sound study.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, and I don't have any topics tonight. So correspondence to be noted by the clerk, we have none.
Well, Madam Chair,
Oh.
we don't have any before us, but I just want to make sure that we get on our next agenda, regular agenda, two pieces of correspondence. One was an email from Beth Langlois to the town manager asking for the net impact on taxpayers of Articles 21 and 22, and then a response from Mr. Gregory about Articles 21 and 22. So the initial email is dated Friday, March 20th. The response was today at 9:56 a.m. And just
Oh, because they came in after the agenda.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. And just so you're aware, in Article 21, Mr. Gregory has said that the Pope's Hill water tank rehab will be funded through Water Enterprise Fund. Article 22, he has stated that the tax impact for the average single-family home, currently valued at $609,924, would be $97.59, or $24.40 per quarter.
So
Okay.
what you're requesting, though, is
Is
that,
to see these on the
These-
next agenda.
And we will. We'll have them on the agenda for the next meeting.
but we won't, you won't be discussing them again because you just discussed.
Correct.
Okay, very good.
Correct.
Okay. So do I vote on the correspondence
No.
to, because they're not technically on the.
Not formally on there.
Right,
Okay.
okay, very good. So we've already had our executive session, we do not have a follow-up. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all those in favor by roll call vote, Ms. Dubreuil?
Yes.
Mr. Sherrick?
Yes.
Mr. Duplessis?
Yes.
Ms. Bemis?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Meeting adjourned.